Basically, three genders, as you have masculine, feminine, and due to gender. Three numbers, unlike English, you have singular, plural, and dual. When you address two people, it's a different one. Singular is different, and plural is different. There are nouns and case relationships. 8 such case relationships we have: nominative, accusative, instrumental, dative, ablative, genitive, locative, and vocative. I put vocative last in blue because it is usually meant for specifically addressing, like O Rama, O Krishna. That is the last vocative. So what are these cases? They always used to confuse people because the names are a little longer, and when you really do the shabdam in Sanskrit, people they are very reluctant to do that because it is a little complicated. Now these are very simple to understand. It's a functional relationship in a sentence. Like for example, I give apple to Rajesh. I give 2. Rajesh is wearing a jacket. So the case is different. So depending on the sentence, what is what? Rajesh is common, but I am giving an apple to Rajesh, so he becomes the object. I am the subject. So Rajesh is wearing a jacket, Rajesh becomes the subject. The jacket becomes different. So if the nominative is the subject, the person who does it. An accusative is a direct object, who. Instrumental, by whom. Who gave the apple? By whom? With whom? Dative is for to who. Ablative is a comparison. 2 people or 2 things. Genitive is belonging to whom. So, in sentences when you have these are different cases that come in. And there are different ways of pronouncing the Sanskrit word for it. So this is a little complicated. Don't memorize it and don't waste too much of time in it. I'm just explaining because this is basically required in Sanskrit. And as you go along and you construct sentences, you will understand it much better. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a simple verse on Rama which contains all the 8 cases. So then you know the meaning, what it means. Okay? Ramo Rajamanihi Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Abhihita Nishachara Chamuhu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Daso Samham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatume Bho Rama Mam Uddhara. Now, I don't know how many of you got the meaning. Even those who know the Sanskrit, how many of you got the meaning? Okay, now I'm going to give you the meanings with the corresponding cases. I mentioned 8 cases, right? I'm going to tell you what is what. Then you will understand what is a case. Let's move on to the next slide. I'll show you. Ramo is me Rama, which is the nominative case, subject. Rajamanihi is a noun, the jewel among the kings. Rajamanihi. Mani is jewel. Rajamanihi. Raja is king. The jewel among the kings. Sada Vijayate. Always be victorious. Very simple. Sada Vijayate. Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Now Ramam is an accusative case. I am worshipping him. And who is Ramesham? Ramesham is Rama and Isham together. Rama's Isham. Who is Rama?
Rama. Rama.
Sakshat Lakshmi Devi.
Lakshmi Devi.
Her name is Rama.
Rama.
Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Rama Varanane goes the Parasruti for Vishnu Sahasranama. Rama there is Lakshmi, Vishnu's consort, and her Isham is Vishnu, who is Rama. So Ramam, Ramesham Bhajeya. I worship that Rama who is worshipped by Rama. So accusative case. Ramena Abhihita Nishachara Chamuhu. Now Nishacharam really means, Nishacharam is night. Nisha means night. Charan means Charaha, Charati.
Charioteer.
Charam means to walk,
To walk.
to go. Charanam Charati. Charati. Nishachara means one who walks in the night. These are the demons, Rakshasas, who walk during the night. Nishachara Chamuhu. And who are these? These are Ravana's armies. Ramena Abhihata. Killed by Rama. That is therefore the instrumental case. By whom? By Rama. Who? Ravana's armies were killed by Rama. Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. To that Rama I bow down. To that Rama. Who? To that Rama. That is why it becomes a dative case. Okay. Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram. Rama Na Asti. Na Asti means there is no one better. Comparison. There is none better than Rama.
Virtual media has its.
Yeah, that's fine. Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram. There is no better way than Rama. Ramasya Dasos. Ramasya Dasan means I am the servant. Aham. I am the servant of Rama. He is referring to himself. Genitive. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me. Chittala means my mind. Who? In whom? In that Rama. May my mind dwell in that Rama. Bhavatu me. May I be. Bhava means to be. Bhavatu me. May my mind dwell in that Rama, which is a locative case. And lastly, Bho Rama Mam Uddara. Bho is actually meaning O. When you call O Rama, to address that person, so it's called vocative case. O Rama. Bho Rama, Mam Uddhara. Save me. Save me from anything, from delusion, from family, whatever. Okay. So this one slokam, which has 4 lines, has all the 8 cases. So remember this whenever you want to say what is a case. This explains the relationship, functional relationship between a subject and an object, and explains to you all the 8 cases. It's a beautiful slogan. Going further, I'm going to tell you something about the basics of verb. Now, all these verbs come from root, like a plant. And the root can be a very simple one, like a small seed sprouts a plant. You have one little root called, say, gum. See how short it is. That single root can give you as many as 100 different words. Here it is, gaccha. From gum comes gaccha. Gaccha means to go. Now we can say, aham gacchami. You have this famous Buddham Charanam Gacchami, right? Gacchami means I go. 2 words, singular. But in Sanskrit it is only 1 word. Gachami. Gachamaha is we go, plural, more than two people. Gachavaha, two people, only dual, two people. Gachasi, tvam gachasi means you go, second person. Gachati, Rajesh gachati, third person, singular, he goes. Gachanti, Rajesh cha Sujata gachati, third person, plural. So endings, the verb root produces the meaningful verbs. The first three you find is gacha, that is the verb root. All you keep is just add one suffix depending on whether it is a singular person or a dual person or a plural person or a third person, depending on. Okay, that's how you develop. So every root, every verb has what is called a root, which is called dhatu. And most verb roots are just one syllable long. So like I mentioned earlier, the root for gacha is gam, which means to go. But I am giving you some samples of what it can form. You've been to India, railway station, they have gamana, agamana, right?
Agaman.
Gamanam, agamanam. It's coming from gam. What is gamana?
Go.
Departure, go,
Agaman.
start. Agamana means
To come.
arrival. Very simple. But if you see English, departure and arrival, two different, totally different words, unconnected. But here it is from gam, gamana, agamana. Gati, come from gam. Atikam, Tamil adhigam nu solrom, adhigam na another. Excess, surplus. Atigam, it is excess, exceeding. Ati means more.
More.
Oh, more.
Upagama, upagama means to go along. To go along, to accompany someone. So the list can go on with hundreds of words just based on one single root, gum. It happens with other roots also. I'm just giving you one single verb root. Okay. If you see the other verbs, like for example, chara means walk, I mentioned before. Jaya means gain. Jiva means to live. Naya means to lead. From Naya comes Nayakan. The leader is called Nayakan. Ganesha is called Vinayakan because he is a superior leader. The V is added to Nayakan, so he becomes a supreme leader. So he is called Vinayaka. But the root is Naya, to lead. Bhava, to be. Bhavan, Bhavati, Bhavasya. All these are coming from Bhava. Socha, the real meaning is to suffer. Sochati naka. When you say Yojana Panitri Yojana is actually you are inflicting some little pain for your brain. So it's called suffer. It comes from the word Socha. Sochati. Sochna padega. Hindi also is a सोचना पड़ेगा दिमाग में कुछ है सोचना पड़ेगा you say in Hindi, right? So that come from Sanskrit word socha. So there are over 700 such basic roots like gum, and I am giving you some samples. And as you go along, when you find any word, try to trace its root. That way you understand Sanskrit a lot better. From which root it has come. Like Bhasha. What is Bhasha?
Language.
Language. It comes from the root Bhasha. Is to speak. From Bhasha becomes a language. In English you call it lingua franca. Right? So that is also not English. It comes from Latin.
From Latin.
Yeah. So most nouns you find are derived from verb roots. So if you have a noun, you can trace it to a verb root. And the nouns get formed by addition of prefixes and suffixes. So that's how the word is built up. So if you know the root, it's very easy to understand. It's not difficult at all. So going further, tenses and verbs. Now you have, I'm dealing with only present tense right at the moment, not to confuse you. Tishta means
Stand.
to stand. Tishtantu, please stand up. Tishtami, aham tishtami, I am standing. Vidya tishtati. Tishtati means third person. Pashya is to see. Pashyami, pashyati. See, simple. The verb stem is pashya. And from the verb root here, stem, you can just extend it by suffixes. So you get the first person and third person in the tense. Bodha. Actually, Buddha's name came from Bodha. Bodha tree is also there. Is to awaken, enlighten. Bodha. Bodhami, Bodhati. Bodhami also means I teach because I enlighten. போதனை பண்ணிட்டான்னு கூட சொல்லுவா தமிழ்ல. அவனுக்கு என்னவோ போதனை பண்ணிட்டான். So they are all coming from Sanskrit roots. Smara. Smara is to remember. Smriti comes from the word smara. Smritis are Puranas which are remembered. From memory, people recited many things. So it's called Smriti. You also have Shruti. What is Shruti?
Sounds.
What is heard. What is heard. So we call ourselves as Smartas because the lineage that we follow are from people who remembered and recited. Smritis, followers of Smriti, in other words. So you got Smartas. Hasa. In Hindi also you have Hasna. It's coming from Sanskrit word to laugh. Hasami, hasati. So likewise, you take one stem of a verb, it's easy to extend that into the first person or third person present tenses. Past tenses will be different. Going further, I'm going to almost conclude now with just one sample of a great creation which immensely appeals to me, of how a dumb person was converted into a great poet, Kalidasa. Now, Kalidasa, he was a rustic boy who was a dull person. The story goes that some people out of jealousy wanted to get the princess married to him, and they arranged it. The princess came to know he is a dumbhead. So she drove him out, go to the Kali temple and pray. So he went inside the Kali temple and refused to allow Kali inside until she taught him to become wise. So she teaches him and he becomes wise immediately. The moment he gets the wisdom from Kali, is the very first slokam which is reciting called Shamala Dandakam. Now Dandakam, and in Sanskrit you have different types of slokams. Like Ashtakam, you have Dandakam also. Here Dandakam really is a kind of, typically you have 26 syllables in a verse. But here there is no limit actually, it is much more than 26. More than 26. It could be in multiples of 3, could be 27, could be 30 or could be even 33. Such a thing, construction is called Dandakam. So here he recites Shamala Dandakam, which is almost like a prose. There is no stoppage, it goes continuously. I heard it when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I still remember that. Manikya Veenam Upalalayantim Madalasam Manjula Vakilasam Mahakendra Neela Dvitikomalagim Matanka Kanyam Manasa Smarami. It goes on. Chaturpute Chandrakalavatams Kuchondate Kumkumarajasone Pundre Chubasan Kuchapushpapanaste Namaste Jagate Gamataka. You can recite it continuously like a regular prose. But the beauty of this is something remarkable. You see the sandhis here. The first line has got so many words all in one single line. Manikam, Veena, Upa, Lala, Yanti. Mada, Lasam, Manjula, Vag, Vilasam, Mahendra, Neela, Juti, Komala, Angim, Matanga, Kanyam, Manasa, Samarami. So many words are combined together in Sandhi, and when you read it, it's almost like a non-stop prose. That's how it goes. And it's simply beautiful, and as you go along, when you read this, you feel the beauty of Sanskrit coming up so nicely. And every little word here has a beautiful meaning. And this is only a sample of the poetry which was created by Kavi Kalidasa. There's so many such poems which reflect the beauty of Sanskrit. And as we go along in subsequent lessons, I am going to tell you some of those beautiful verses. 2-liners, 4-liners. And as you go along, you will also pick up the meanings. But remember one thing, every noun has a verb. And the root verb, you have to trace it. So the exercise that I'm going to give you for next is pick up a couple of words and find out the roots. And tell me what those roots are. And we can use those roots to extend it to different cases. Like I mentioned 8 different cases, you can extend it to 8 different cases. You can say in present tense also. Like I see, you see, he sees, I walk, he walks, they walk. Do 1 or 2 like that. So that shows you are practicing what is being taught here. Okay. So I think at this point of time I'll conclude the second lesson, in which we covered some of the essential features of Devanagari script, and we also saw how the vowels and consonants play a part, how consonants form, the different kinds of consonants you have, the different varieties and categories of vowels and consonants you have. And we also saw the basics of grammar, who founded it and how they got expanded and what it is like today, and how easy it is to just go into a root and expand it to a word, and then how words combine to become a sandhi. So this point we stop here. We go for the next lesson next Sunday, same time, same place. Till then, bye. Enjoy the rest of Sunday. Namah Parvati Pataye.
Har Har Mahadeva.